This is fun. We get to welcome in one of our colleagues here at Salem Radio from Dr. G's show, from America First. You probably, if you listen to the program, have heard from one of Dr. G's producers. Eric Lendrum is with us. He is also on the way back from the Libertarian Convention, which happened last weekend. President Trump appeared at that convention. It looked very crazy and ruckus. He wrote a piece for American Greatness. You can find it at amgreatness.com. And he joins us right now. Eric, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
So I got to ask first, you are a libertarian registered, or what? How did you get involved with the Libertarian Convention and cause?
I absolutely am not a libertarian, thankfully.
You seem like too much of a rule follower, Eric. Come on.
I guess, yeah, no, I like the taste of boots, as the libertarians would say. No, this actually is what I want to start with. I had to give a shout-out. The Washington, D.C. Young Republicans sent out an email to their members, of which I'm a member, announcing that they had procured some tickets to go to the convention to show support for President Trump in his speech on Saturday. So I went with a few other friends. I had no intention of going prior to that, but courtesy of those wonderful people, the DCYRs, I was able to go. So wanted to give a shout out to them and their leadership.
So you called out the media. You know, we heard the media playing clips of them booing President Trump, and of course they delete the clips of them clapping for President Trump. But what was your assessment of President Trump's speech there, support or non-support? Why don't you lay it out for us?
So prior to his speech, the atmosphere was indeed very unruly. There were lots of anti-Trump sentiments in the room, like shirts being worn, like, signs being handed out, anti-Trump stuff. There were chants. And during the speeches prior to him, it was just so raucous and unprofessional. My friends and I, the Trump supporters in the crowd, had this kind of sense of dread that, this is going to be a disaster, isn't it, for the president. So that being said, when he finally took the stage to the signature God Bless the USA intro, that same magic and aura set in that he just captivated the room once again. And the crowd was a lot more respectful than they were prior to him taking the stage. There were still moments where they interrupted his speech, not so much with boos, but more with just their favorite chants. It was their chance, obviously, to, get their main agenda items in front of President Trump by chanting it at him. So, for example, the Biden-Harris HQ account, that awful Twitter account or X account, posted a clip of them chanting during his speech, claiming, look at these libertarians. They're chanting hypocrite at Trump. No, they were not. They were chanting end the Fed, as in abolish the Federal Reserve, which is a top libertarian priority. Dating back to Ron Paul, that's been one of their dreams. So there were moments when, that chanting disrupted his speech. And yes, the testiest moment was definitely when President Trump was reading from an American Spectator article by Roy Murdoch advocating for him to be the Libertarian nominee. And, of course, that got quite a bit of them angry, and they kind of did disrupt the speech a bit of heckling. And that was the moment he went off script, off of the article, and just said, if you don't want to win, then don't nominate me. Don't do that. Keep getting your 3% every 4 years. And that joke, I will tell you, the row right in front of me where my friends and I were sitting was a bunch of libertarians who were kind of, smug and not happy throughout his speech. Even they laughed at that joke. Like, most of the room laughed at that joke as he was dunking on them. So I think that moment, well, definitely the biggest moment in terms of disruption for Trump, was a moment that separated the adults in the room from the man-children in the room, the ones who were like, yeah, if we want to be serious and politically viable, maybe we should listen to this guy. Then the moment of truth came about 3/4 of the way through his speech when President Trump promised to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the website Silk Road, who, if you were to look at just the sheer number of signs in the room that said Free Ross and the chance of Free Ross, you would think that was their number one issue for libertarians, more than ending the Fed and more than pardoning Julian Assange. So when he said that, that was a massive, the longest and loudest eruption of a standing ovation. And from that point on, he won over 99% of the crowd.
It's amazing. Now, he didn't win the nomination at the Libertarian Convention. Eric Lendrum is with us, one of the producers on America First. You can listen in today at 1 p.m. on AM 870, 8 p.m. AM 590, The Answer. And we're talking about this because the Libertarian Convention was last weekend. And it just, watching some of the video, Eric, I mean, some of the characters in the crowd, pretty unique. But the Libertarian Party itself, I think, is always interesting to Republicans because we want less government. But I think we also recognize the importance of some law and order. Some government is probably good. When they look at President Trump, I saw one of the things they took issue with was that he really didn't drain the swamp. What would they like to see? What were some of the people that you talked to? What are their top initiatives aside from getting rid of the Fed and pardoning their friends?
I think definitely ending the political persecution. Again, when he talked about, when he promised to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht, that was capping off what he had just been saying, that he's always been saying on the campaign trail, that he'll pardon the J6ers, he will end the persecution of pro-lifers and Catholics and conservatives who literally haven't done anything wrong other than the crime of being conservatives and being political dissidents. So that pledge to, crack down on political persecution by the Biden regime. And to that end, he promised he would put together a special task force to investigate the corruption of the Department of Justice and these political persecutions, and that he would appoint libertarians to be on that task force, as well as appoint a libertarian to be in his cabinet. So that was and this is the beautiful thing about his platform. He did not have to suddenly reverse any of his previous positions. He didn't have to change his tone. This is stuff he has been saying from the get-go. He just tailored it slightly to appeal directly to libertarians, again, promising to have them be involved, and a few other things here and there, like vowing to protect cryptocurrency. That was another big thing that really won over a lot of libertarians in the room.
I think that's interesting.
But at the end of the day,
he's pushing that way.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's a clear sorry?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say on cryptocurrency, the reason is the government, Joe Biden's government, wants a government cryptocurrency to basically put cryptocurrency out of business because of the privacy that Bitcoin and others provide you, and so that would be a big libertarian platform to have the freedom to do that. Lastly, Eric, were you anything surprised you at the Libertarian Convention? Because I always say this about libertarians: their good ideas are really good, and their bad ideas are really bad.
I will say that I was surprised by following the speech. There was definitely a lot more civil discussions going on between the Trump supporters and the libertarians. Again, prior to the speech, it was pretty rowdy. There were some informal arguments that broke out on the floor. But after the speech, we were all just kind of amazed by wow, he hit on all the right notes. Again, they did not decide that he was going to pledge to pardon, to commute Russell's sentence. That took everyone completely by surprise. So that was kind of a sign that, he really is willing to play ball. He understands that the libertarians are closer to being ideological allies and ideological opponents. When you look at the major third-party candidacies this year, libertarians, the Green Party, RFK Jr., and Cornel West, the libertarians are the only ones that are a bigger problem for Trump than for Biden. The other three are all total headaches for Joe Biden. So if Trump can do whatever he can to mitigate that threat of libertarians taking votes away from him, then that's just stacking the deck even more in his favor come November.
So better reception in our final second here be for President Trump's speech or for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s speech at the convention?
Definitely better reception for Trump by the end of it. By the end of it, they were definitely much happier to have heard him speak.
If you have one of the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. chickens, which he was handing out, that people were supposed to squeak during Trump's speech, we definitely want to see that. So you have to send a picture.
Honestly, that's rude.
It is rude.
That's really a bad play, I think.
But it is. I mean, hey, look, it's funny, it's rude, but yeah, I guess it is political warfare. Eric Lendrum, thank you so much for being with us. I want you to get his article. We're going to tweet it out as well at This Is TMA. You can find it on American Greatness. That's amgreatness.com. And Eric, thanks so much for being with us today. Check out America First today, 1 p.m. on AM 870. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you.